Gathering Saturday, are we already at like the 14th? See, close, 14th. Already feels, oh, Friday the 13th was yesterday. I'm Diana Shimkus, and we are Encinitas Mindfulness Community. For those who will watch this, who don't know who we are yet, if you'll join us and then stay. We have a lot of folks, about 16 people on Zoom this morning also. So thank you, all of you. This morning, we've been working on, let's just review, we've been working on resting in luminosity. Resting in luminosity. And I noticed yesterday my luminosity was short. I didn't have as much luminosity as I was hoping. And I was imagining the sky and trying to place mind in sky. And I just kept thinking, shut the fuck up. And I thought it about 4 times. And then I finally said, yes. And went, luminous like the sky. How can we use this energy also is going to be the point of this conversation. How do we use everything, right? As we're looking, really resting in the Mahayana and Dzogchen tradition. How do we use every moment arising as the moment of luminosity? I'm just going to stop there, take a sip of my water drink, and tell me what you think. We often believe that luminosity, like I did in that moment, would mean just compassionate, just intelligent, just recognition, just understanding the dilemma, right? Just, be this concept of good. This is my alter ego, Glenda, the good witch. And she would just appear with the crown and the large wand. Well, didn't look anything like that. Do we need another? Oh, it didn't look anything like that at all. And according to Trungpa Rinpoche, the teacher of Pema, he says something like this, and I'll bastardize it just to hopefully make the point. Fear is the fear of fear. Fear is present in the essence of joy. It's a little more, right? Fear is present in the essence of joy. Let's see if I can find it quick. Fear is fear of fear. Raw fear, I like that idea even better, is in the essence of joy. Raw joy is nothing but raw fear. Inseparability in the heart of true openness. Inseparability. All objects, those we like and those we don't. Those that feel good. Those that make us nauseous. All objects of luminosity. All objects in the essence, I would say, of love. Let's just sit with that for a moment. Fear is the fear of fear. Nothing substantial, nothing permanent, nothing that is yours beyond the conditions, equaling the exact same luminosity. Another word, anybody can think of another word we could put there? Equaling the same. Anybody have a thought? Another Dzogchen concept word is essence, but what would be even another one? Fullness, wholeness. illusion, essence, no self for sure, whole and complete in its experiencing. The word essence is often translated to equal energy. Energy. So now let's think about it. Fear is the fear of fear, energy, certain type of energy. Raw fear, that's the energy part, right? Non-conceptualized now. Do you know what I mean by this? Not story-laden, not imbued with perceptions, judgments, opinion, historical data that says this is the way it always is and will always be, to make what permanent, solid, rock-like, concrete-like. Raw fear is essence, joy, love, luminosity. I really want to talk about this today because even in the moment yesterday when I finally just blew it, and I'm happy for this, I have to tell you why. You can get very arrogant when you rest in luminosity. Anybody notice this? Oh, just out there in the big open wide space. It's not me. It's not my problem. I don't know what you're doing over there. And the truth is, I really mean this. If we can capture this essence, this fear, really, this arising raw energy, this is the point of the resting in luminosity, by the way. This is the whole point of it, is that it isn't just to rest there. We have been slightly mistaken. What's the point then? It's to see clearly with luminosity, what? All of the trappings, all of the hindrances, all of the, where do I get caught? Where do I solidify? Where do I grab the concept and just go, this is just my shitty life, right? Luminosity is really the methodology.
I feel that arrogance when I'm with people. For me, it's hard to see their luminosity. It's hard for me to recognize that. But then now looking at it this way, you can see it all is
all of it.
All of it is
all of it.
Part of it.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
See, all of it is in the sky. So rage is in the sky. Self-loathing is an object in this. It's all of essence.
Yeah.
It's all in the essence of. So then I want you to sit with it for a minute and let's ask lots of questions before we practice it, because we can also mistake this. And I don't want to do that either.
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
If we were to use the word just mindfulness instead of luminosity, all of this would be like, yeah, of course.
That's right.
We can talk about that.
That's right.
But I guess there's some association and maybe experience that goes with it. Luminosity has a slightly different quality. Like maybe mindfulness, I have some feeling of equanimity. The luminosity is shimmering or expansive or something
inclusive
than mindfulness and equanimity.
Yes.
So how
what would be the distinction?
Yeah,
I love that question. So mindfulness in its functions, and there are typically 4 functions identified. One of them is recognition, right? So in recognition, we could maybe even say fear is fear. That's the first line of the poem. Certainly mindful. Fear is fear. I'm recognizing fear. I'm recognizing its characteristics. We could go on, right? I notice the body sensations associated with fear, the grip, right? The tightness, I could notice thoughts. It's your fault. This shouldn't be happening. Why am I here? Is this, I love this I love this concept that I'm hearing a lot from people. This is not in alignment with my values. Now, by the way, there's a true reality to this in some way, and it's an idea, right? That this is not in alignment with who I really am, or, well, not really. We can reject nothing. And mindfulness doesn't go that far, actually. It does invite the recognition, invites sensations, thoughts, and emotions. It has you parse them so that they can become workable. It doesn't go all the way, though, to this idea of fear as a real opportunity, fear as another piece of luminosity, fear as the right. It doesn't quite in the it names, it orders, it organizes, but the relationship to it, no longer as object, Pete, but as a part of the essence of, well, everything. It doesn't quite go there, does it? The essence of everything, a part of everything, really perfectly placed. It does identify conditions, right? To say unavoidable, words like that are used in the Vipassana tradition, right? Naturally arising, then you hear in the Mahayana, like what's always going to appear like this. It is in the Dzogchen that it says, no, non-separate, I think was the last line of the poem, right? Inseparability, really the path. Recognizing even that raw energy, my distress, my fear, my feeling too vulnerable, too put upon, too overwhelmed, all a part of the luminosity. And then we're going to rest in it today. And then we're going to turn towards a distressing factor and see if we can't see what Pete's asking about. What's the brightness? What's the essence of joy in it as well? In the continuation of the poem, which we don't have here, does anybody have a Kleenex? My nose is running. Here we go. It actually says, as we already know, because we've already talked about it, no thing separate from joy, no thing separate from love. How is that so? No thing separate. Because in our relative world, we go, oh no, those don't feel anything the same. What, do you know why they don't feel the same? It's not because the energy is different. What is it?
We define them differently.
The liking, not liking, wanting, not wanting is the difference, not the energy. The energy is the energy. This is the whole point of this. Do you see where the Dzogchen are coming from? That vast, spacious sky that says, really just objects all coming and going, all interesting, fascinating. Can you stay then? I couldn't, not in that moment. I erupted. Why? I know what happened for me. I'm so grateful for it. I pushed it and pushed it and pushed it about 5,000 times yesterday. Instead of just acknowledging the energy, this is the beginning of the mindfulness that Pete's talking, acknowledging it, and then being with, turning towards. And what do we say? Abiding. No, just forget it. That, no, not that, right? And I'm even hearing myself now say things like, well, this is not very Christmassy. Right? I can hear the little, like, get it together. The kids are here to decorate cookies. This isn't very Christmassy. It is. It is in the very moment. What? The illumination is where, right here, the very moment I go, this too, opening to this, allowing this, taking maybe even time, space, at least creating some space for the reality of it would have been amazing. And is there even love in this? And the answer is yes. Can it, where is it? Even love in this. Where's the love even in this? Even in the pushing away, even in the, why can't I just get it together? Even love in this. Yeah. Both in its recognition and in the true heart of it. Right? You can imagine the true heart of this. I want everyone to be in joy. I want everyone to have a pleasant time. I want everyone to be in connection. These are not difficult. These are beautiful, open-hearted intentions. Just didn't include me in that moment. And it also put way too much on me. This is the arrogance. Like, I have to create this somehow rather than allow, right, this to just be. It's here too, right? It's here too. So we're going to do a version of Tonglen today, which is an aspect of the luminosity teaching. We're going to do it a little bit differently. So if you could, as we're getting ready to sit, take a moment. And so for some of you, I know you're sitting there going, I don't know, joy and love don't seem like that. For it, they're not true. That's because you're taking a what would we call a relative view, and the relative view says joy looks like X, fear looks like Y. And really, there's not a problem in this either, right? Because, well, it looks like this, it feels like this. The problem comes in the limitation, doesn't it then? Not in the reality that I know joy like this, right? This is our mindfulness practice. It's lovely. This sense of openness, of ease, of expandedness. I know fear as what? Contracted, closed down. That's not actually fear, says the Dzogchen. That's the resistance to it. Does that help at all? That's the resistance. That's the refusal. That's the denial. That's the turning the other way. It is not fear itself, which is just, Dzogchen says, energy arising. It is the not this. Got to be some other way. Got to be different. And then we say these things cannot be the same. But in their essence, in luminosity, they are simply a bright twinkling light in its appearance. Just beautiful. What if we could relate to everything?
Yeah, I was thinking of beautiful and ugly.
Yes.
That's also the same thing.
That's right.
Like,
That's
what's
right.
beautiful, what's,
That's right. And look at what we do then continuously, don't we, in our relative minds all day. This, not, this, not, you, not, all continuously, causing problems for ourselves and others. Big problems. Right. Is it true? Big problems for ourselves and others. If we could see everything then, the Mahayana would say, as the Buddha, to put that into one strike down. If we could see everything, not just in the Dzogchen in its brilliant appearance, you might go, I have no idea what she's talking about, but one step down as the Buddha manifest. One step down, the Christians would say, as Jesus disguised. They give you a little more out because, you know, they're going to go, so we know you didn't like what you saw when you first looked, but right, as Jesus in his distressing disguise. As the Vipassana would then say, as simply sensation or thought or emotion arising and passing. can we rest in luminous, bright, open, inclusive, receptive awareness with it all? And the answer is yes. And then we're going to turn towards our perceived, since Camille's helping me, the perception of, but not this, and see what we discover as we rest there. All right, all. I'm going to click just to make sure I'm. Happy birthday to Robin, Friday the 13th. There's a fear about moving towards this luminous appearance called depression, and getting sucked into the hole. The energy itself cannot do that. The opinions, believed thoughts can pull us in. We have to be careful about that. And then it says, oh, thank you. Someone said, oh, good to know that teachers are imperfect. Oh, well, hang on. Hang on to that.
It must be new.
Yeah. Hang on to that thought. What liberation? What liberation then to acknowledge one's humanness? And there would be no path truly to Buddhahood if you couldn't do that the whole time, because that is not separate either, is it? See, this idea that somehow you get somewhere where then you do not have this experience is never. Don't buy in. If I could finally get there, then what? Yeah, no suffering. No, it's what you do with that energy that changes, well, the whole of the world, right? Not that you aren't any longer human. Right. So let's sit together. So finding that comfortable posture, unlike the Vipassana posture, we don't spend a lot of time in Dzogchen establishing the spine. We do then try to turn towards the sense of open space, of which you are also a part. They don't solidify anything, really. So even turning towards this body as yours is a little bit of a joke, right? Which is simply what atom particles flitting about and molecules. And that's the Dzogchen 60th floor view, right? So we don't even anchor here. We anchor into the permanence of the vast open space, eyes open or closed. And in the Dzogchen tradition, it says, see if you can find solidity, permanence anywhere. It certainly is not available in the breath, which is completely vaporous, non-solid. Can you sense the space between the bird song? The space between the heartbeat? Just resting the mind again and again. And then we notice objects in their appearance. Remember, nothing solid. That's why we use the term in its appearance. Nothing solid, nothing permanent, nothing fixed. All, however, a part of the whole. Like a river flowing. Like the space in which an ocean, the vastness of the oceans, sits. Each wave included, invited, embraced, apart, not separate, but a part of the whole. Letting the body naturally soften and dissolve into that vast open space. Nothing solid. Letting the identity and concepts, the breath itself, dissolve into open space with each breath. Nothing to hold on to, nothing to resist. creating open space. Well, let me change that. We're not creating it. We're recognizing opening into that vast open space by clearing obscurations. What is that? The solidifying of anything, including oneself, the breather, the seer, the knower, the meditator, the one getting it right or wrong, simply an appearance. With the out breath, it dissolves back. Into vast open space. I had someone say to me yesterday, "Oh, this is like God's eye." And the only issue with that is that God is not separate. So, yes and no, just this, not something. We don't even solidify the idea of God. Nothing separate. We make no thing out of anything. And yet we acknowledge its brilliant, luminous appearance. Feel the expanse, the openness, the ease. See if you can begin to recognize then these small points within the body when they arise. I just had a little grip in the belly, and rather than stay in the contractedness, stay in the grip, can we hold it spaciously, openly, curious, interested, as a part of the whole? Not mine and not mine, says the Heart Sutra. A coolness, a warmth. And then our relationship to it, also an appearance. Liking and not liking, an appearance. Simply a set of conditions arising and passing. Enjoy the view, says Lama Surya Das. The beauty, the Buddha, the Christ, the God, awareness itself in everything. And keeping this open, sky-like, vast, infinite, and empty quality of heart mind. Closest to our true nature. We turn for a moment towards an annoyance, a difficulty, a frustration. Maybe it's a self state, a moment of fear, of anger, maybe depression or confusion. Just recollecting this moment. Remember, even in its recollection, it is different. Nothing constant, nothing permanent, but to the best you can. We're not losing contact with the open space, by the way. We're just cultivating this momentary experience or perception. Remember, it changes too. I just had another detail that appeared. See if we can't even create space and room for this. This simply as a perception, as a recollection, changing really moment by moment. Nothing solid even here. And from this recollection, we're going to see if we can't then open and expand beyond the thoughts about the storyline, the narrative, to include the body's sense. And this too is temporary, fleeting, momentary, appearing and disappearing. We're going to drop beneath now the concepts and see if we can't stay open to the raw energy, the essence. Everything is present here as well. A tightness, a hotness, a hardness, a numbness, a queasy, gripping, easeful. We don't even, from this tradition, we don't even need to assign labels or names. This is done much earlier, but it is still available as needed. Can we stay in contact without losing that sense of vast open space? We're not contracting around, we're opening to include. It might pinch or burn or twist or tweak. It doesn't matter. We're just staying, holding it, abiding the experience. Not making it me or mine. And then we're going to see if we can't breathe directly into it, or certainly near it, rather than touch it for a fleeting moment and let it evaporate. We're going to see if we can't create a space in which to just stay for a moment. Remember, it is somewhat artificial. Staying doesn't imply solid. Turning towards it, breathing right in. I notice a kind of ache in the left area of the heart. Remember, just opening, including. Energy with essence, love, compassion, right here. Nothing to push away, nothing to disidentify with, nothing to think about. And notice how this too changes. This too is impermanent, a fleeting moment. Noticing that this too carries infinite love and wisdom. There is no positivity or negativity unless we impute it. There is just this arising set of sensations. We let it be known. We hold it in that vast open field. And then be watchful, because we sometimes think, well, then I shouldn't feel this. Yes, whatever is here is here. We're just not going to bring the storyline. We're not going to bring the narrative. We're going to be watchful of the pushing away, the shutting down. Noticing that this too has an ever flowing, ever changing, non solid nature. Another part of the whole. And then if you notice any particular reactions, I just noticed a little tension in my shoulders. This becomes a part as well. Nothing to reject, nothing to take claim of, letting it arise and pass, a brilliant appearance, imbued, luminous. Beyond the sensations, we might notice particular thoughts that we then also make solid. It will always be, they will always be, they are, I am. Look at the solidity in this, breathing in some space. Thoughts is thoughts. Nothing permanent, nothing solid. Appearing and disappearing. Be watchful that we don't make the object separate from the open space. They are not. And then expanding that view, seeing if you can find anything once again that could possibly be separate. No feeling, no thought, no sensation, no sound. Everything arising within that vast luminous field, a part of the whole. And then we smile as we begin to remember our true identity. No thought, no sensation, no emotion, no event, no circumstance defining it. And then we recollect the characteristics of our true nature: ageless, deathless, colorless, birthless, timeless. Abiding, this human life and the life of all beings. Essence, love, joy, ease. Luminous, spacious, whole. So be it. And then we can't figure out how we create these problems for ourselves. Then you see that everything that becomes difficult is simply an obscuration, right? A momentary appearance of solidity of something, me, it, other, right? And that we have simply gotten caught in the illusion. And then we smile, because, right? And then, so for those who are practicing, this is why we practice. This is why we practice. We practice to remember, at least for a moment. And then we forget, and then we see that we forgot and have remembered. So I'll check in, see what questions, what experiences, what do you know about this? Yes.
I don't think I thought of it till this moment in the moment of luminosity, but I had the crown fall off. My temporary crown fall off. I had to meet the dentist on last Saturday. She was kind enough to come in and put it back in. And it's just her and me. She doesn't have the assistant, so it's kind of clunky stuff. And so it's a lot more casual too. She's like, this is gonna hurt. This is not gonna hurt. Well, anyway, she goes, it looks beautiful underneath it all. She said, I'm gonna shoot some air on it. And we're not gonna give me Novocaine because we're trying to get this done quick and everything, right? So she's gonna shoot the Novocaine on it. And when you said that about fear of fear, I immediately went to this. And so I am bracing like this, and she's shooting it, and it does. It is horrible. And I am trying not to swear, and I don't think I did. But it was so funny because she was like gleeful. Oh, it's alive. You don't have to have a root canal. And I had this moment of that pain. And yet I had this realization of it is a good thing that pain is so horrible.
Part of aliveness.
To abide there.
Yes, very much. Yes.
But it really was funny because it was like,
yeah,
I could feel myself shift when she said, this is good news. Because I was like, I could feel my back was arching. I was clenching. I was like, and by the way, telling myself relax, which of course is really forced, right? Yeah. But it was so funny because, that was, to me, that would be an example.
Beautiful.
Like you say, it's not all beautiful.
No.
But there was that moment where I'm like, good thing, and I labeled it as a bad thing. Yes.
Can we recognize pain simply as a part of this human life? And then the liking of it, the not liking of it, the aliveness of it, the death of it, right, whatever else is happening with it, as also momentary. It is true. Not everything is pleasant. Not everything is, even the things that are good for us are not necessarily things we like. So it's all true. And I guess if you're wholly alive, you sign up in some way with that reality, right? This nature of love. The nature of love is, right? It too. There will be an ending, a loss, a grief. And can we abide? And then you just cry the cry, right? I get so irritated by this idea that somehow you get out of it, right? That you get out of this human life somehow. That in love there is no pain. It's not true, and it doesn't have to be true, right? We just have to open something towards it, don't we? Like, and then your heart breaks. And then there's the reality of death and impermanence and loss and pain. And I have spent most of my life figuring out how to get away from that. That has only taken me away from life, really, not from the pain. Isn't it right? Isn't it true for you? Just close something down. Then we're not really raw or naked, or right, we use those kinds of words for this showing up for the present moment. The closest we're ever going to get to just arriving, to being in contact, being connection, and being. No concepts.
Yeah, I started a new diet. Suffering. Challenge. Yet, sitting, somehow, I survived it. For a while, I thought, that's it. For the next 10 years, probably, sitting was such a pleasant experience. Learned so much. But I remember the teaching that keep bypass. Remember that was very important. And now, over the last few years, I've had some physical challenges. And, for a while I thought, well, maybe if I just sit with it. In reality, it's there. And sitting, the only thing I'm grateful for is I sit. I don't avoid it. I don't find an alternative. I don't take a medication. I just sit with it. It doesn't go away. And I don't know that it has to. But I'm grateful for this energy, strength that Sangha has provided to be able to be present during that. And in preparation, you guys all know that I'm very interested in the end. And I figured pretty good practice.
Pretty good practice. Because every moment is the end, isn't it? Every moment is the end. Nothing solid. There's no death to wait for. It is this moment, really. And then we get to whatever the truth of that is. The pain of that, the confusion of that, the fear of that, the avoidance of that is all a part of it as well. And see, there's nothing to reject, but also be watchful that we don't somehow grip it. Right? This becomes our new problem is, I have to learn to sit with the realities of death. Well, you already are. It's here. Illness and health, temporary appearances. Really. Right?
Would you say that suffering is like one of the major doors to opening to luminosity?
Suffering is certainly an opportunity because it's so loud for us. It's so available, right? We are so in often awareness and resistance to it. We have really created quite a lovely frame. I think suffering is a beautiful frame. But is suffering required for luminosity? Of course not. It is not. And is it a path? Well, I've noticed mostly I wake up in the midst of it. I am pretty dopey, sleepy, and distracted in the other moments. Right? I'm finally paying attention when I can't get out, when it hurts like this, when it's a diagnosis or a threat or to something that a loss that I see as essential. I finally, at least for a moment, like I did yesterday, wake up. And that's always beautiful.
And I love what you talked about to begin with, this connection between fear and joy.
Yes.
And Andrew and Holochek talked about leaning into
Leaning.
fear.
That's right.
Because really one of the major meditations, one of the major
Yes.
codes,
Yes.
path, and I guess I've really noticed that a lot. Because I've also had a lot of sickness, certainly aging,
Right.
and that the two are very connected. Yes.
There is no way that I know anyway, and you don't know it either, to avoid the reality of these realities. And that fear just becomes a part of one solidifying something. But it's beautiful to see, right? The whole point of the path is to see the way we get in the way of our own love, joy, and happiness. Right? To see it. And in the seeing, then at least have some choices.
The clinging of, for me, of not wanting the fear.
That's
Right.
right. Yeah, the wish that it
Right.
somehow. Yeah. I don't know if we have to get rid of it.
No,
I don't think so.
the opposite.
Yeah, isn't
It's
it?
the opposite.
I don't think getting rid of fear. I haven't noticed that it works out very well personally. I haven't been able to get rid of it. I have been able to be with it. And I noticed that there is a growing capacity, I would also say, to be with it, so that I can see clearly at least some way to cause less suffering than I might otherwise have caused. At least. And really not just for me, but then for me and others. Even yesterday in my, I could, fairly quickly say, I'm probably too tired, too lonely, too hungry to function, really. And so, I can back up the truck a little bit, cancel the plans, and offer myself at least the refuge of open space for a time. And could still make the maple pecan bars that I'm going to get for you, and could do that joyfully, right? Could then do it joyfully. Otherwise, don't do it, right? Truly. Don't do it. And there will be probably more things that I am not going to do now than I am going to do with joy. Like, okay, but probably not that. Let me see if we have anything here. Anything from our Zoom crew here? So then let's get practical. How do we practice on the spot in the moment? Well, one is to rest back from this methodology. It doesn't say go towards the object first. In the Dzogchen, it says rest back in the spaciousness first. Because whatever the object is you go to, without the spaciousness, you're going to name you, or you're going to name other. And it's going to simply feed the separation. You're like this, I'm like this, life is like this, it's permanent, it's fixed. It says rest back first in spaciousness, make contact with luminosity, and then you can turn towards anything, even the things that hurt. And maybe what Lisa said is at the minimum, say, I am alive. And I think from the point of view of the Buddha, I am awake. Right? I am awake. Non-separate. Not obscured. The truth is, error on our root hurts. That's it. Right? And then you don't have to condemn you, the dentist, the tooth, or life anymore, do you? Now you just open, like, yeah, that's right. That's right. And somehow in that abiding, there is an ease even in the discomforts, right? Really, it's not really, it hurts like it hurts. And that's it. We don't have to drag in, if only you, if only I, if only life, if only other, it would be different. No, it wouldn't. It's true. Right? This is it. And now we don't have to make it more or less. And that's a little bit useful as well. Isn't it? That we don't have to construct storylines about how it should be and how it should be and life should be. Because there's a lot of suffering in it, I will tell you. Then the pain is not even the point, is it? Now the point is the suffering we have constructed. And that, folks, that's going to hurt way more than any air on the wood, isn't it? That. And we forget. We forget. We go, the problem is, there is no problem. You didn't like it. That wasn't a problem either, by the way, was it? You didn't like it. You didn't like the diagnosis. You didn't like the okay. It really by itself, no problem. Can you just see what's happening? I just didn't want it like this.
Story.
Yeah.
So, kind of the worst pain I was ever in was operation. And this was a few years back. It was bladder. And they didn't give me enough pain medication. So I came out of it in this 10 plus pain. And I'm sitting there and I'm looking at my wife and her best friend is there and they're looking at me. I was, but I thought at that point that they would be able to control it. So I was able to kind of be with the pain, even though I told them, so it's pretty bad, the pain I was experiencing. But then they put me in the bed and then everybody left. and
now it's just you and the pain.
And the thought was, it's never going to go away,
yeah.
And nobody's going to come to rescue me.
Yeah, that's right.
And
that's
the
right.
nurse would come.
That's right. Get me out of here. Nobody's here to get me out.
And the nurse
Yeah.
would come and
Yeah, I want to die.
And the nurse would come and she'd say, okay, well, here's a little shot. I can't give you a lot. I'll give you a little bit. And it wouldn't even touch it,
No.
And so, but the suffering, really, which was the thought process of it's never going to end. Nobody's going to help me, made it so much more difficult.
So much.
Through the night. It
so
was
much.
Like the worst night I can ever remember.
Yes.
So finally, a nurse came along and knew what kind of medication to give me, and she gave it to me. The pain went away.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't even expect that.
Right. No, you'd probably given up on that.
Yeah. But I always remember that. It's really a good example of how the suffering really,
Yes.
really so.
Oh, so this idea of aloneness, of right, separate from the whole. I don't know if there's a pain greater than that.
I think it's the real fear of dying.
It is.
To me.
Well, this idea that in dying we will be separated.
Right.
From, right, that which we love, this life. Again, the Buddha laughs, says, but this is not so. You were right. It was not true in birth. It is not true in death. And we don't know yet. We only know it's scary. It's hard. I don't like it. And the clench, the grip is going to cause, this is going to guarantee that it is worse. Otherwise, you're just screaming. And then you scream the scream, right? I hated when Joko said that. Really, like, what? What? You just scream the scream. Don't tell me this. Tell me the way out of this. I can't tell you the way out of pain. It is a part of this human life. I can tell you the path to the end of suffering. Clean scream. Literally, she meant it. She wasn't joking. Just scream the scream. And then you'll notice that that doesn't last either. And it turns into this, it's crying or, and she actually once had me say what I thought would happen if I just did that. And I said, what? I'd scream forever. What do you think would happen if you just said it hurts? I'd scream and I'd scream forever. This is a little bit like Robin's. If I acknowledge the depression, then I would just, I'd slip into, right? And it isn't the depression only. I don't want to say it isn't what it is either, but it is also what? It's well slick, it's well greased. The slide is well greased by the storyline that this is me, this is forever, there's no way out of this, I can't do anything, I'm all alone, there is no, this is not true. Because as I was saying, just scream the scream, I saw everybody go, right, I know the pain, I know pain, right? We do. And in the Tonglen practice, which we will be doing next week as our generosity contribution to others, we're going to not only turn towards it, acknowledge it in ourselves, we're going to acknowledge it and be willing. This is the greatest dana paramita. The greatest act of generosity is acknowledging the humanness for ourselves and others. And then what? Acting in accord. Then you could only be willing to breathe it in, couldn't you? What else would we do except to say, I will stay? But you have to know how to do it for yourself. You can't be there for somebody else if you don't already know the hurt hurts, and then you scream the scream, and then the river keeps flowing. It is not just. And the truth is, and yes, it may be that that pain leads to death. It is also true. There will be a final scream, at least as we know, right? We don't lie about that either. And then, as Joka would say, and then everything is okay. And then everything is okay. You're now doing life as it is here to do. Okay. So, do we understand how generosity is an essential part of acknowledging the truth? It is. Because what would compel you otherwise if you did not understand it for yourself? The truth of hunger, the truth of pain, the truth of cold, right? You wouldn't act. It is because we understand it so intimately that we do. So I'm going to go get the maple pecan bars. I know, ever since I said that. I know. For those of you who aren't here, there are me, you're suffering now because you don't. Sorry about that. I would like, though, if the board who is here could talk about the things coming up while I'm up there cutting on these things. So we have the 17th, which is St. Andrew's to talk about, the 19th. We're already pretty well set for the 19th, but I think it'd be fun just to share what we're doing for those who are going to be participating on the 19th. And then we have our January 9th, and we're going to need, if somebody, Lisa or Carrie, could talk about the 9th and the fact that we will need supports. And I'll be back by then probably. Say hi to Mike. Is Mike shook on? Yay, Mike! I didn't see you, Mike. So lovely to see you. Mike is in Montana, I think.
Yes.
I can't hear you, Mike. You're unmuted. Why don't you unmute while I go cut the bars? Talk to the crew.
I brought a bunch of jackets too. I don't know where you want.
Also collecting jackets and socks. So whoever.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, Mike, we can hear you now.
I just wanted to add one little piece to your comment.
You're going to add, I'm turning it this way because if I don't cut these, they will never get down here. Here, I'm going to go like this. That's Mike. Can anybody see him?
Teach us.
the truth of our physical beings,
Yeah,
but there is, I don't want to say a separation, but there is a distinction between form and the spirit. And what I had spinal surgery a few weeks ago and been working on rehab. And during that process, I started to get a better understanding about the nature of the impermanent nature of this body and being able to just kind of watch it as it goes through all the phases of dying and rehabbing in the process of dying. And it's been really interesting.
Good word, Mike. Interesting.
Well, the body's going, there's just no way around it. And to be able to just sit back and observe it, accept it, which has been a little tricky, but it's just the nature of things. That's kind of where I'm leaning towards, and it's made it, I guess, easier because you don't worry about it. It just is. So what about you, Greg? I understand that, you've been going through some tricky parts.
He's rocking.
say again?
I understand you've been going through some tricky parts too.
No,
How
I'm actually doing really good, Mike.
good?
Hey.
Yeah, doing really good. And let me have a little segue here into the compassionate action.
Yeah.
Because let me talk first about St. Andrews, which so really kind of what we've settled on as our compassionate actions are St. Andrews, which is every 2 months, Philabelly, which is turning out to be probably once a month, at least, and then our international things that we did this year. And that's, not necessarily every year, but, we could certainly try to do it every year. And this year we really made an impact. I'm going to let Lisa talk here in a minute on Philabelly, but St. Andrews is coming up next Tuesday. So, donate to EMC directly. Diana and several people are going to be helping her go down and get a lot of the foodstuffs that St. Andrews uses and gives out. And they're helping about 200 families every week. And it's just amazing what they do. And so we do that every other month, and it's coming up this next week. So, donate to EMC directly. And you want to come up here, Lisa, and then talk a little bit about Philabelly and what we're doing?
I think everybody's been familiar or a little bit familiar with Philabelly, and as Greg says, we've been going out every month. It started out, it wasn't that frequent, but then I think we all sort of came as a big crew and said, we're here when you need us to be. They took advantage of that, and we're pretty much on call, and on call is turning into almost every week. And so we've been participating in various levels. Sometimes it's to help serve, sometimes it's to bring a dish, sometimes it's to bring a whole meal. And in January 9th, we're bringing a whole meal. And the truth is the group that needs the food that we're bringing is growing. And so it started out that we were bringing basically an entree. I think we said for 15 people. Do I have it right? 15 people, and a side dish for 15 people, and a salad for 15 people, and a dessert for 15 people. And now we need to double that up. So in January for that, pardon me? 60 people. 60 people. Okay. So we need
4 volunteers for
4 volunteers for each meal part. How about that? And we're covered for 1, but
when you bring volunteer to bring something, you don't have to bring something for 60.
No. You're bringing it
That's
for
what
you're bringing it for
understand
like
that, not be
you're
scared.
bringing it for 15. You're bringing it for 15. Sorry, I should not have been the one to do this. Bringing it for 15. So we basically need volunteers for a main dish, an entree, excuse me, a main dish, a salad, a side, and a dessert. That's
So
and or beverages
Yeah.
like drinks like water or Propel, that sort of thing.
do you want us to sign up in chat?
Di was
Or-
keeping a list. She just popped out.
Okay.
About how we want to have people volunteer, Di.
For,
For
the
Philadelphia.
guide?
Do you want them to be reaching out to you?
Yes. We need 4 entrees, now 3 or 2, I can't remember. Well, but we will need 4 entrees for 15 people. 15 to 20. We will need at least 2 salads, if not 3. We will need a couple desserts. We will need some drinks. We've got some people signed up and there's a couple dozen of those happening. We need 4 dozen waters and 4 dozen fruit juicy kind of things that they can also potentially take with them. So if you let me know that you're interested in which of those kinds of items you'd like to contribute, then we'll just get our list going. And I'm already signed up for an entree. I think we've got Greg.
We have all
we're-
the food, we have all those items for one, basically. So we need everybody to sign
All
up for
those
the other
items
3.
are for one meal, evening meal,
Right.
one evening meal. We will have over 60 people coming for that meal. You just tell me and you tell me what you wanna
Here, let me give you
contribute.
your plate back.
And then salad. Okay, that would be 15, a salad for 15. And then also let me know if you are coming to serve mac and cheese. Who's doing mac and cheese? Okay.
Yeah.
Too much for the brain.
Then the other work is that on the 9th, we will need to get there by 6. And be setting up so that we can be prepared to serve at 6:30 on their tables and chairs, and everyone will be eating there. I would say if somebody would bring some warm drinks, not just waters, that would be pretty. So I'm gonna add that to our list, only because I think by then it'll be, since we're at 6:30 is dark. What's the location?
So like for
Not
the warm,
Church.
for the warm beverage, would you want to do like a hot cider or something that we could
Yes.
bring in a dispenser or something?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, Tanya, would not, I don't want to try anything caffeinated or at that
No,
time.
no, it's in the evening, so we don't want to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Yeah, like,
So,
yeah, I could probably, I'll find one of those, what do you call it? Not percolators, but you know,
carafe.
a carafe. Yeah, I can
coffee
find,
percolator kind of thing.
yeah.
You don't know how to make cider in it? You don't make cider in it, you just put cider in it. I guess.
Yeah, you could put cider inside. I can make the cider at my house and then put it in that carafe or percolate, or you know, it's a standing thing that you usually do for like a hot beverage or coffee or whatever, but we could do that and then I'll just bring it over. That's no problem.
Electricity is hard, but we
Oh, okay. Okay.
we can put it in those, what are those pump things? I think some people might have, so we'll figure it out, Tanya. Thank you.
Yeah, and I can go hit up my catering friend and I'm sure I'll have something I can borrow or whatever too. So
So I think that'd be a nice
Yeah.
thing for us to offer. The other thing that we're gonna be doing on next Thursday, the 19th, is also providing some cookies. So Jim and his wife are gonna be making some cookies. We're gonna put those in a sealable something and let that be something they can take
Question
with
about
them.
Clothing items.
Yep, jackets.
Initially, I was just gonna make it all there, but should some come on the 17th?
Yes, the reason is if we're bringing them to, we cannot, we have to get there early and put them in the side room because they have a little bit of, get into a little bit of grasping. And some chaos.
Diane,
oh,
I'm around for the close, so you can either drop those off anytime.
Today?
Anytime, yeah. Jackets are things we're looking for in particular. Socks would be the backup. We hear they're short on socks.
So.
Diane,
Hang on, I'll right there.
I'm sorry. I did a drop off on Thursday and they want it before 4:30. They want you to go into the church office and they'll come over and lock the founder's room, which is the room right next to the breezeway. And actually, they put it in the Philabelli closet for me. So.
That's right. Yeah,
Yeah,
Randa
before
just doesn't
February.
want the distress of,
Yeah,
here's
before
stuff
February.
and people, I need that jacket, and we don't know. I'm gonna leave it to that group to figure out.
Do they need hangers to hang things on? Because I have a bunch of hangers too, and I have some boxes of stuff I was gonna drop off at your house on my way to work.
No, Kelly's shaking her head saying, no, they put
No.
it on the table.
Okay, okay, perfect.
I didn't hear what Mike said. I'm certain I have a different perspective because that would be the fact for Mike and I throughout all time. What I would say that I heard is that there is no distinction between form and the formless. He might have said that.
He did. Tokens.
Yeah. Dogen himself said that. And so I would agree with you completely. That that which knows pain is not that which is in pain. But yeah, and it hurts like it hurts. And I don't want to skip over that reality, and are cultivating a capacity to be with each moment as it is, including those that are pleasant, unpleasant, and neutral, is a part of our path.
Doesn't hurt as bad.
It is no doubt about it, Mike. We agree 100%. Again, what's happening to us, Mike? What's going wrong?
I had like five.
Merging into each other.
Well, that's the nature of things, right? We're all one.
It is. It is. And remember, we don't use our practice to bypass the realities of this relative world. And we do hold it like the Dzogchen in the wide open space of, I can be with everything in this life. It is, said the Buddha, our capacity is to be able to do so. And not only to be present to it, not only to endure, not only to abide, but this is the part I most love, but to awaken in the face of it. And I hang on to that, to awaken right in the middle of my screaming Mimi moment, understanding that there is fear and pain here too. Can I feel for myself?
Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't.
Yep. Sometimes you feel like a nut. All right, we're going to say our Bodhisattva prayer. So hang on.
Just about done, hon.
Yep. Going to be there. Let's gather ourselves. Inviting the bodhicitta heart. This is the Mahayana tradition. I'm going to name the traditions a little bit so we know where we're coming from. Might be a little more helpful because we use all of them in this Sangha. And sometimes I hear people go, how does that fit with that other thing you just did? Well, we're coming at it from a slightly different lens. All of it, though, pointing at what? The essential truth. All of it in each of the traditions. All of the traditions, I believe. Not just that in one or another tradition. And so we ignite the heart of bodhicitta by remembering the truth of this human life, joys and its sorrows, the pleasant and the unpleasant, the reality of our vulnerability, of our universal wish to be happy, to be safe, to have safety for our loved ones. And then we commit ourselves in the Mahayana, in the great vehicle, we commit ourselves wholeheartedly to contribute, not only to ourselves, but to all beings. And we offer this aspiration. May I be a guard for those who need protection, a guide for those on the path, a boat, a raft, a bridge for those who wish to cross the flood. May I be a lamp in the darkness, a resting place for the weary, a healing medicine for all who are sick, a vase of plenty, a tree of miracles. And for the boundless multitudes of living beings, may I bring sustenance and awakening, enduring like the earth and the sky, until all beings are free from sorrow and all are awakened. May our practice today contribute, and may it continue, that it be so. So be it. Thank you all so much for your practice, willingness to be here. Next week is the Saturday before some of the holidays. And we will be here just like we were today. I want to ask the people who are sitting here, was it workable? Was it too cold? Do we need to bring the heaters down? Felt workable? It felt workable for me, but I'm a little more protected, I think, than some. You wore your warmest jacket and had a reason to do so, which is very exciting. We do have 2 heaters. They can come down if we need them. So we'll just try to stay present to the reality. We do have some blankets, so we'll keep using those too. Please.
But what's cold?
It's what's cold. I'm not going to tell you. I'm not even going to put a, no, I'm not that dumb. No, I'm not taking that bait. What's cold? Cold is that feeling we get for
Good one, Mike.
don't know. Be well, everyone. I'll see you next week. Mike, so wonderful to see you. I hope you continue to be well. Hope to talk to you soon. Take care, everybody.
Healing vibes, Mike. Hugs to you and Robin. Thank you so much, Diana. And on my way out, I'm gonna head out to work, but I'm gonna drop off those things of clothes.
Yes,
And
anytime.
I'll
Anytime
have some more.
between now and Thursday. Thank you.
I'll have some more this week to drop off as well.
Wonderful.
Thank
you.
you so much.
Very